Guys, welcome to yet another video. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's lovely to have you guys here. Please like, share and subscribe before anything, and click on your notification bell so that you get notified when I post another video. So today's video is going to be a bit deep and emotional. I am going to be talking about my journey with depression and anxiety and how I overcame that, and how also a bad experience, a life-changing experience, came and changed just my perspective on life, and how I am, and made me become the person that I am right now. It played a big role in just me becoming the woman that I am right now, but also me being able to sit in front of this camera and film for you guys and be able to just talk. So my history with depression dates back long ago. I grew up in a setting that put me through other traumatic experiences, but I've healed from those experiences. But I've had depression for a while, but I could manage it at that time. I was able to live with it. I was able to function with it. It became part of my daily life. I found ways to deal with it, and I think I reached a point where I had healed from it until I had this traumatic experience. So when it comes to anxiety, I started experiencing anxiety as soon as I started going to varsity. I think it was also because of the assignments and the workload that we would get, and it would always have me feeling very anxious because you're always on edge as to how there's a deadline, there's an assignment that I need to submit, there's a test that I'm writing and all that. So that also caused me a lot of anxiety, and I remember it would reach a point where even when I was done studying, I would sometimes just wake up in the middle of the night or wake up in the morning and be worried that I had a submission, and then I would have to remind myself that, oh my gosh, you're actually done with varsity, you don't have to worry about submissions anymore. So yeah, my anxiety dates back then, but I managed it, and I reached a point where I was able to trick my mind, and I also received a lot of treatment for it, so it wasn't affecting me anymore. But after having that traumatic experience last year, it was at its peak. My anxiety was so bad that it was hard for me to just walk outside, and it was hard for me to interact with people. Sometimes I was afraid, of saying something because I was afraid that it would evoke a certain response from a person, or that person wouldn't like it. Like literally everything made me anxious. I would hear a bump outside and it would immediately make me anxious. And yeah, so it was through those experiences that I realized that I needed serious healing. I needed to find myself, most of all, because I at that point realized that I actually didn't know myself. I had reached a point where I would look at myself, but I wouldn't be able to tell you who Linda is, what she's about, what she stands for. So I went on a self-healing journey. And I say self-healing because I did not want anyone else to play a part in me healing. I needed to be there for myself. I needed to feed into myself. I needed to heal my inner child, because with trauma, I also realized that my inner child was very wounded, to a point where it was affecting my relationships, it was affecting my friendships. I started feeling like I couldn't trust people anymore. I started feeling like I couldn't rely on people, but it was mainly because of how I was feeling internally. It had absolutely nothing to do with like the people around me. So I made it a point to hold myself accountable and say, listen, we're going on this journey and you're going to find healing. So every single day I would reach a point where I couldn't get out of bed. I would literally sleep until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because after this traumatic experience, I couldn't even go to work anymore. So I could not get up. I was not eating. I was just in my feelings. I was going through so many emotions, and I was on antidepressants. and some anxiety meds, and I was just was bad to a point where I felt like I would never come back from it. I felt like I wouldn't wake up from the sleep. You know, when you feel like you're in deep sleep and you just can't wake up, you just keep having nightmares, daily nightmares. It felt like a never-ending nightmare, and it was so bad that I was not social anymore. I wasn't going out, but thankfully, like, the people around me understood that I was going through something. But for me, it was like, because I'm such a social person, I love going out. As much as I'm an introvert, but I love going out. I love experiencing new places. I love going to restaurants. I love going to drink and doing outdoor activities. And I couldn't do them anymore. I had lost myself. So with me going on a self-healing journey, it took that for me to realize that I needed to heal myself. I needed to find healing. I needed to find ways to deal with how I was feeling on a daily. I needed to heal myself. I'm going to tell you about the top 10 ways, or should I say top 10 strategies and steps that I took to be at the place that I am right now. And when I say at the place that I am right now, I am so at peace that nothing makes me anxious. I could have a fallout with someone, it doesn't make me anxious. I could have a problem with someone and it wouldn't make me anxious. I could lose something. I could lose an opportunity. It doesn't make me that sad anymore, because I understand that I will always be aligned with what is meant for me. I'm at a point where I'm healed emotionally. I don't cry randomly anymore. I used to be very emotional. I used to cry a lot. I used to just be all over the place. But I'm at a place where I'm so motivated. I'm motivated to chase my dreams. I'm motivated to find myself. I'm motivated to go out and see the world. I'm motivated to get up in the morning, you know, because my depression was so bad that I would wake up sick. I would wake up feeling very sick. I would wake up and I'd feel like my stomach was sore, my body is always tired, and you know the amount of fatigue that you experience when you are depressed. You are always tired. Literally everything makes you tired. Even just washing the dishes feels tiring. It feels like a chore. That's how bad my anxiety and my depression was. So the first step to my healing was me accepting what happened to me. I had to accept that this happened. I had to learn to be okay with it. I had to close that part of me, close that wound, and say, it's okay. It happened and it's okay. I wanted to reach a point where I no longer point fingers on whose fault it is, or point fingers and say to myself, it's my fault, and try and find the perpetrators of, or try and find fault in anything. I just needed to accept it, and I started accepting it, that this happened and it is not who I am. It happened to me, but it does not make me who I am. I do not embody this. This is not a part of me. It happened to me. You understand? So that was the first step of my healing, me understanding that this happened to me. It changed my life, yes, but it's not who I am. It just forms a part of a journey that I went through. It forms a part of the lessons that I learned. It forms a part of the painful experiences that I've had. Second thing that I did, number 2, is I allowed myself to feel everything. I allowed myself to be sad. On the days when I wanted to cry, I allowed myself to cry. On the days that I wanted to be angry, I allowed myself to be angry. On the days when I look back and I'm like, I can't believe this happened to me, I allowed myself to replay that experience in my life. I never for once forced myself to be okay with it. I just accepted that it happened. I accepted that it happened, and I allowed myself to feel every emotion, as painful, as heart-wrenching as it was. I allowed myself to feel every little bit of those emotions. I processed them. I lived them. I lived in that body. I lived in that moment, and I allowed myself to feel it, because if I do not if I do not face those problems, if I do not face those challenges, then I will constantly push them back until they gather up behind me, and one day they will come back and haunt me. So I allowed myself to feel everything, the emotions, the anger, the guilt. I allowed myself to feel everything. And thirdly, I isolated myself. I needed isolation because for the longest time, when you're constantly around people, I don't know if you've noticed, but when you're heartbroken or when you're hurt, when you're around people, the pain feels better. So I needed to be alone in order for me to accept what happened, in order for me to feel those feelings. Because when you're alone, reality kicks in. You remember everything, it replays itself in your mind. So I isolated for the longest time. I think I isolated for like a whole month. I was not leaving my room. I would literally only leave my room to eat or to wash the dishes if I wanted to, because I think at home they understood what I was going through so much that they wanted to give me all the time in the world that I needed to experience this, to be okay with it, because it happened. And I needed to be honest with myself. So I isolated myself, and I have never in my whole life cried so much. I've never cried so much. I've never felt so much anger. I've never felt so much pain. But I needed to. It was part of me becoming this. You know how they say certain situations come in your life and they shape you? This was a very painful shaping. I feel like God I was clay in God's hands, and He was molding me. And it was so painful. He was cutting pieces of me off, and He was shaping parts of me that had already been shaped before, but now He's shaping them into another shape. And it was the most painful thing I had ever experienced in my whole life. Listen, I've been through a lot, and we'll talk about it as time goes, but this one experience shaped me, and it was painful, but it was necessary. So I isolated, and I took the time to grieve, to accept the grief, the pain. Oh my gosh, it was painful. I also did a lot of introspection in me accepting the part that I played in this experience. I took time to accept that I was also a part of the people that betrayed me. I betrayed myself. Time to just introspect on the choices I've made, where I've come, how far I've come, where I'm going. It was a mess, but it was necessary. It was a necessary mess. For step 4, I went for counseling. I had a psychologist, counselor, I had a psychologist, and I had a psychiatrist. So I needed medication, unfortunately. Sometimes you need to be honest with yourself about how you're feeling and what you're going through. So I needed medication. So during the time, even when I was isolating, I was still going for counseling. I would leave the house, go to my psychiatrist or go to my psychologist, and I would come back and I would isolate again. So counseling helped me a lot in me unpacking a lot of stuff. Despite the traumatic experience that I still had underlying issues, and they were also contributing to the pain. So you know how an onion is? It has many layers to it, and you just keep going. And that's what happened in therapy. We were peeling back to when I was a child, and that's why in the first part of the video I spoke about my inner child. So this also formed a part of me healing those past traumatic experiences, and that also led to me being able to heal this experience. Because you must remember, you can't ignore what once happened. You also need to confront the things that happened before, so that when you heal fully. You don't just heal parts of yourself, you heal your entire self. So counseling helped me a lot on reflecting and me understanding that as much as I experience this, it does not make me who I am. It just forms a part of my journey. It just forms a part of the painful experiences that I've had. So yes, I to counseling, and it helped me so much. It's very nice to speak to a person that is not personal, who does not know you personally, and who does not form a part of your life in any form, or shape, and who is trained to speak to you, because that person does not have a subjected point of view of your life or who you are, and does not know what once happened or whatnot. They are just going to speak to you based off of what you are telling them, and that is why it's so important to be very honest in therapy, to be open, to be vulnerable, to cry, to get angry, to scream, because these are the things that form a part of your healing. You need to open up. And so me going to counseling also made it easier for me to open up, even to the people around me, about what happened and how it affected me, and I could keep. Number 5, I already mentioned it. Number 5, I went on medication willingly, and the medication helped me a lot, because on some days your emotions are so much that you just need to switch them off. You just need something to help you get through the day, because we work, and I had to go back to work at some point. So I needed medication to keep me going, even if it numbs me, but it wears off at some point. And sometimes you just need that numbing. You need it. Be very honest with yourself. Don't try and be too strong. That's why I said be vulnerable. You are not Hulk. You are not the Incredible Hulk, okay? You can't fight everyone and everything. At some point, you need to feel what you're going through. You need to experience it. You need to be honest with yourself. So taking medication really helped me a lot, in that sometimes I needed it to just get through the day. Some days are harder than others. Some days you're able to get through the day even though you're feeling a lot of pain, but it's there, but it's okay. You're able to feel it. Number 6, I worked out. I started working out. For me, because I have anxiety, working out forms a big part of me healing. It forms a big part of me functioning every single day, because it helps me to just get if I have any form of anger, I can transfer that anger to something else, to the dumbbells, to me running, to whatever, but I'm getting rid of it in some way, shape or form. So the pain I was feeling, I was taking out through working out. It also helped me manage my emotions, and it's so good, because when you work out you release a lot of endorphins, and endorphins are hormones that help you feel better. They make you happy. They change your mood in a positive way. So I'm thankful that through working out I was able to just heal. I was able to heal. I was able to release a lot of anger, a lot of pain. I was able to also feel good about myself, because when you work out during a time when you're going through something, usually you don't have a specific goal. You just work out for that day as a form of therapy. And me working out so much and looking at myself in the mirror and seeing the results of me working out also made me feel good about myself, because now I'm looking at myself and I'm like, girl, you look good. So at least you're going through something, but you still look good. So that formed a big part of my healing. Working out helped me a lot. It released a lot of anger, a lot of pain. The sweating helped me, because I felt like I was sweating my problems out. Number 7, I started opening up to the world. In what way? I started being able to go out in public. I forced myself, actually, because I told myself, I gave myself a time span. I was like, you're only going to isolate for so long. After that, we are going out. You're not going to be afraid of facing anyone. You're not going to be afraid of walking in public. You're not going to always be anxious. We need to get over this. Whatever it is that we're going through, we need to get a grip and get over it. So I went out in public. I started very small, by going out with in intimate settings with the people closest to me, by going back to work, but I was not seeing clients anymore, because I used to work as a counselor during that time. So I was not seeing clients, but I would do like admin work and whatnot. So it started small, and I started warming up to people. I started warming up to being outside. I started warming up to being in public, and through that I was able to now just feel better, because I started realizing that, oh, okay, it's not so bad, it's not that bad. And then I started being able to like be in social events again, being able to socialize again, being able to bump into people and not feel somehow or feel like hiding under a rock. So it played a big role in me being able to interact with people again and starting to work again. Number 8, I started feeding my soul and my body. I started feeding my soul by reading the word. So I am a Christian. I'm a Christian, but I also believe in spirituality. So I do not bottle myself up because of religion. I believe that it's okay for me to believe in both God and my ancestors and spirituality, because I see the impact that they both have in my life. However, everyone is subjected to believing in whatever they want to believe in, and this is what works for me. So I started feeding my soul by praying a lot, praying and reading a lot of scriptures, listening to motivational sermons and motivational channels, and just understanding how I can also heal myself through just prayer. So I started feeding my soul, I started speaking to God, I started speaking to my ancestors, and that played a huge role in my healing, because God kept reassuring me that one day you're going to wake up and it's all going to be okay. It literally felt like I was having a conversation with him. I started journaling again, writing down my feelings on my phone. So I'm not someone who likes writing, like writing in by hand, but texting, I feel good about it. So I downloaded an app and I went in. I would type down whatever I was feeling at that moment. So when I was feeding my body, I started eating well. So at some point I used to eat like nothing, close to nothing, and sometimes I would just eat junk. So I had to find an equilibrium that was good for me. So I resorted to eating well, because I'm working out, so I needed to eat well. So I started making myself food as a form of self-care, making myself food, eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, drinking a lot of water. And I also realized that I was starting to gain the weight that I had lost back, and my body started regaining its strength again, and I started feeling good about myself, because I don't know about you, but the better I eat, the better I feel about myself overall. I just start feeling really, really good, and it just formed a part of my healing. Number 9, with me doing all of these things, I started being able to be independent again. I was not dependent on people with going out, going shopping, because I'm someone who likes actually going on dates alone, or going shopping alone, or doing stuff alone. So I no longer was dependent on people anymore. And number 9 is I went out and I lived my life fearlessly. So this is when I started opening myself up to dating, meeting new people, and working, traveling. I was now able to go see my friend. I have friends who live in different locations, so I was now more comfortable visiting them and traveling to them and just going to see different places. I opened myself up, literally will open myself up. And let me tell you, being in different locations and just seeing nature, seeing the city, I was just seeing life through a different lens. And I'm so grateful to the people around me, because they played a huge role in my healing. They would take me out and we would just experience different places, and this played a huge role in me just feeling so much better, because it just gave me so much hope that it's going to be okay. It gave me so much hope. I literally would forget that I was not okay, because I was now distracting myself. It's okay to distract yourself also, but in a healthy way. Don't run away from your problems. Just seek good distractions, healthy distractions. So we are finally at number 10. Number 10 is I was patient with my healing, and I decided to give to my inner child, and I went on a journey of self-discovery. Guys, healing is not, you don't wake up tomorrow and be like, I'm healed. Even though right now I feel like I'm healed, I still have a lot of healing to do. You don't reach a point where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so healed and I'm not feeling anything anymore. It's impossible. But we are still healing. So I was very, very patient when it came to my healing. Very patient with myself. Even if tomorrow I woke up and I was feeling like shit, I would be okay with it. So now at this point, I did not put a deadline on my healing. I just put a deadline at me stopping to live. And through living my life, I was able to heal. I confronted my inner child, and I gave her hope, and I gave her warmth, and I spoke to her, and I told her that we are going to be okay. I'm here for you. I confronted those parts of myself that felt like they couldn't recognize me anymore, and I told them that we're going to find you. I'm going to find myself. And I found myself through traveling, through the experiences, through me just doing self-care. Self-care played a huge role in me, to give to myself, to get up and to clean my room and to make sure that it was clean, because you must remember that most of the time when you are depressed, 9 times out of 10, you are so tired, you can't even do your laundry, you can't clean, you can't run. So through those experiences, that also brought me a lot of healing, through cleaning my room, through cleaning, washing my stuff, washing my body, working out, doing my hair, doing my makeup, taking pictures of myself. That was a form of healing. But the biggest part, the one thing that formed the biggest part of my healing, was me going on a journey of self-discovery. I went on a quest to find this girl. I had to confront myself and ask myself, what do you like? Who are you? What do you stand for? What makes you who you are? In the essence of you, in the essence of who you are. What makes me who I am? What is your word? I had to find my word. I had to, and it's through going to places that you discover that I actually enjoy doing this. It's through going to restaurants that you're like, oh my gosh, I actually love food. Through meeting new people that you realize that you actually like socializing. And these are the steps that I took to overcome my depression and anxiety and to heal my trauma. I no longer have nightmares. I used to have nightmares. That's how bad my trauma and my anxiety was. I hope and I pray that this video will aid you in some way or another. I am not perfect. I'm still healing. And I hope that you can also find that point within your life where you're like, I need to heal myself. I need to find myself. I want to do better. I want to be better. And I hope that this video will give you hope that tomorrow you can wake up and things will definitely be better. Life is not perfect. We do not lie to ourselves and pretend that we're okay when we're not. But I hope through this video you can find that point within you that will help you heal. You'll find that girl that is yearning for attention. You'll find that girl that just wants to be seen by you. You do not need anyone else to heal. If you want to heal, you need to take the initiative to heal yourself. No one is responsible for your healing. Thank you so much for your love and support, and to the people that have been watching my videos. I am so thankful that you guys are showing me love, showing me support. I will definitely be recording new videos every week and putting them up, even though I don't have a set schedule. But when my videos are up, because you clicked the notification bell like I asked, you'll be notified. Thank you so much for tuning in, and from me to you, it's love and light.